Williams.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as time is short, I refer the House to my speech on this matter in Westminster Hall last week. Secondly, I refer the House to my speech on this matter in February. For Plaid Cymru, the Scottish National Party and the Green Party called a debate on this very issue in February. I am glad to see that the Labour Party has called this debate today, and I will be supporting them as they supported us in February. I also refer the House to my amendment B. Now, the aim of the under-occupancy penalty is allegedly to free up the logjam in available housing. However, one of my fundamental objections to it is that the government are using tenants as a battering ram to free up that logjam, and that is unacceptable. I have asked the Secretary of State a few days ago what estimates he has made of the number of people in Wales who will move house as a result of the social housing under occupancy penalty. The answer is interesting, he said. The department is not able to reliably estimate the number of people in Wales who will move house as a result of the removal of the spare room subsidy, due to the small sample sizes involved. Clearly, the governments do not expect huge numbers of people in Wales to move. They do, though, expect to make substantial savings on housing benefits. That is the reality, Madam Deputy Speaker, not moving people on, but making savings on benefits. The direct experience of my constituents is that they cannot move on. There is nowhere for them to move to. Earlier in this year, I asked the government what research had been undertaken as to private market elasticity in rural Wales, the ability of the markets to provide in response to the bedroom tax. I was told that no such research had been undertaken before the charge was brought in. There would apparently be research in 2015, and reports would be published in 2016, a full 2.5 years after the charge was brought in. More fundamentally, I am concerned about the effect on estates. I was brought up on a council estate. It was a very stable area with a mix of people from a variety of backgrounds. Many of them were the sorts of people who have seen their children move on, but still lived in 3-bedroomed houses, and who provided such estates with the anchor and the stability that we believe to be so important. They knew the difference between a house and a home. A distinction which has eluded the current government.
Well done, well done, well done.
I end by referring briefly to funding for hardship and to my own amendment, and which stands in the name of my right honourable friends as well, which I regret was not selected. My own local authority, Gwynedd, has a review group on hardship payments. It brings together people from the voluntary sector, shelter, the DWP, and even the Member of Parliament. Gwynedd County Council, to its credit, has added substantially to the fund, with the result that the number of people in arrears is fairly small at present. I will indeed.
I'm very grateful to the honourable gentleman. In my constituency, what I'm finding is that some people who originally were successful in getting the hardship fund, when they reapply on the second occasion, are being told that they can't get it because they aren't showing sufficient hardship or haven't shown that they're rebudgeting enough. Is that an experience that he's seeing? Because this week, for example, a constituent told me they're now having to choose between heating or eating because they're not getting the fund paid.
Well, the Honourable Lady makes a very telling point, and that is certainly something that concerns the group at Gwynedd. And it goes to the very heart of the cash-limited nature of the fund. Something which I objected to when the social fund came in. It was pitting one claimant against another, bringing an element of competition in to something which should be there to fulfil the basic needs of people, and it's one of the reasons why I object. I also hope that there will be no evictions, but there is uncertainty about the fund's future, which I hope the Minister will be able to clear up. I would also like to hear the Labour front bench pledge to adopt a no evictions policy, which is the subject of my amendments, where they have the power to do so.
Yes.
Now, Labour's policy of abolishing the bedroom tax will not come into force until at least 2015. That is, should they win the general election. But Labour are in power in 77 councils, and the Welsh Labour government have the power to adopt a no evictions policy with immediate effect. Now, if Labour are serious about scrapping the bedroom tax, they should also be serious about preventing its worst effects on tenants. For me, that goes in particular for the Welsh Government, where the Welsh First Minister has the power to stop evictions. Labour in RCT in Rhondda Cynon, for example, have voted with us in Plaid Cymru for this policy. The SNP in Scotland have acted, they have procedures, pre-eviction procedures, and I understand that Labour colleagues in the Scottish Parliament are proposing a bill to bring in a no evictions policy. I think they are, or possibly they're not, perhaps they're not sure themselves. But speaking in the Assembly, Jeff Cuthbert AM said, "We cannot undo the bedroom tax, we seek to reduce its impact, and we are trying," all very laudable. Leslie Griffiths AM said there would be a very high cost, not just a financial cost, but also in terms of the quality of life of people in relation to eviction and then re-housing. Plaid Cymru's Jocelyn Davies asked the First Minister, "Will you tell us which social landlords in Wales are going to adopt this no eviction policy?" Carwyn Jones, the First Minister, replied, "That is a matter for local authorities to decide. I can well understand the thinking behind the no evictions policy, but it is for each local authority to decide how it wishes to approach this inequitable situation." With all due respect to the First Minister for Wales, he is wrong. It is in his power to decide. It is time for those in power in Wales, long on rhetoric and slow to act, to give a lead. And if he will not give a lead in Wales, might he not be led by Labour here in Westminster?